Welcome. Today, we're diving into a forensic mapping of the subconscious, focusing on a critical week in the life of a subject we call the dreamer. This period from February 19th to the 25th is absolutely fascinating. The dream logs show this powerful tug of war between the gravity of old patterns and the pull of a new sovereign future, a future being designed by what we're calling the architect within them.
So, to really get a feel for this week, you have to understand the atmosphere leading into it, and it's one of just pure exhaustion. The data describes the dreamer pedaling a fragile bicycle over mounds of unfinished labor. And wow, that image, it just nails the feeling, doesn't it? The old systems, the old ways of getting nourished, they're just not cutting it anymore. It's this grueling uphill battle on a rickety bike, just trying to get to something new.
So let's start by looking at what's pulling the dreamer back. What are these echoes from their past that are still creating drag? In our analysis, we call this force the old gravity. And look, this old gravity isn't just some vague feeling, right? The dream data lays it all out for us. We see concrete things like lingering financial dependency on an old job as a bus driver. We see involvement with past organizations. And we even see them slipping back into that old family role of being the problem solver. Every single one of these is like a thread, pulling the dreamer back into the person they're trying to leave behind. So with this old gravity constantly pulling, this whole week becomes this series of critical choices. The dream logs show us this descent into these make or break moments where the dreamer has to actively choose, stagnate or progress. And check this out. This slide lays out one of those choices perfectly. On one side, the subconscious shows them the old office, a place that's just stuck, confused, people struggling to find answers. But on the other side, it presents the old bank. Yeah, it's dusty, but it's open, it's full of potential, and it has this beautiful, solid architecture. You see, this isn't just a choice between two buildings. It's a choice between two completely different states of being. Then we get this incredible image from the dream logs, the ghost run. The dreamer is on their old route, a school run, but there are no kids to pick up. The bus is just idling there. Its entire purpose has been hollowed out, right next to this gate that's just gently swinging in the breeze. This is the subconscious basically declaring a role officially obsolete. It's a quiet but profound signal saying, it's time, get out of the driver's seat for good. So what happens if the dreamer doesn't listen to these quiet warnings? Well, the subconscious basically has to shout. A dream pops up of a father figure, this figure of authority, recklessly trying to change his clothes while driving a moving bus. I mean, the message couldn't be clearer. The old blueprints, maybe those patterns learned from family, they're not just unhelpful anymore. They are actively dangerous. The old guides simply cannot steer this path. But it's not all warnings and danger zones in the dream world. It's also filled with opportunities. We see this in what our analysis calls threshold markers. Think of them as doorways or portals, key locations that offer a clear path into a new reality. And the idea is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. A threshold marker is like a symbolic crossroads in the dreamscape. The dreamer can either walk through that door and move forward, or they can hesitate and get caught in this liminal trap, this loop of indecision. Just being able to spot these markers is the first step toward making real progress. The old bank is a perfect example of a successful portal. The dream log notes a $5,000 a month price tag. And let's be real, that's the cost of commitment. But the dreamer chooses to claim this new architecture anyway. Those dusty light beams, the solid wood panels, this is the new headquarters for the soul. And choosing to enter it is a major, major step forward. And then you have this quieter, more subtle threshold marker, the swinging gate. It's not some grand entrance, it's just a quiet pivot. This is the moment the dreamer decides to walk away from that ghost run. It represents the definitive, silent departure from that old service archetype. A threshold crossed with no big fireworks, just a final, quiet exit. Now, this next marker is fascinating. The dreamer sees these complex automatic doors opening and closing all by themselves. Remember that rickety bike they were struggling to pedal at the beginning? Well, this is the polar opposite. It's a symbol that a new way of life is actually possible, one that doesn't demand constant, manual, exhausting effort. It's a glimpse of a future that can work for them. Which brings us to our next piece of the puzzle, the tools. The data shows this stark contrast between the outdated tools that create friction and drag and the new methods that create effortless expansion for the dreamer, the architect. And this is such a tangible, real-world parallel for what's happening internally. In the waking world, the data shows that processing information on a slow laptop is a real struggle, zero motivation. But on a powerful home computer, that same task becomes effortless and fast. This isn't just about tech. It's a perfect metaphor for shifting from a restrictive mobile system to a powerful, grounded home base of operations.
Now, this is where things get really cool. A dream event actually gives us a powerful new tool, a protocol we can extract. In a dream, a child on a bus wraps a seatbelt around their own neck. The solution? Cut the belt. From this, we get a 3-step protocol: severance. First, identify a safety rule that's actually become restrictive. Second, assess the current danger. How is it choking you right now? And third, you sever that tie decisively. It's literally a tool for liberation.
So after digging through all of this, the echoes, the choices, the thresholds, and the tools, we can finally arrive at our conclusion. We can deliver the verdict on whether the dreamer successfully navigated the gates of this cycle and truly made the architect's claim. And the verdict, based on all the forensic evidence, is clear. It was a successful passage. The decision to walk away from the ghost run, to claim the old bank, to cut that restrictive seatbelt, these were all successful passages through the gates. The dreamer is no longer standing at the ramp. They have exited the old loop. And by making these choices, the dreamer didn't just pass. They secured 3 crucial new forms of what we'll call psychic currency. First, architectural vision, the actual ability to see and claim a new life structure. Second, decisive severance, that newfound courage to cut ties with things that are actively holding them back. And finally, familial sanctuary. The data shows their family now sees this new path as a safe, stable home, which is a truly profound shift.
And all of this really leaves us with one big question to chew on. The data this week is all about exits and endings and cutting ties. It forces us to ask, when a role, whether it's a job or a family position, becomes a cage, is cutting yourself free an act of destruction, or is it maybe the ultimate act of creation?
If this week's mapping of the collective dreamscape resonates with your own story, or you're just interested in seeing more, leave a comment below with your most vivid anchor from the week. To stay aligned with the upcoming cycles, like this video and subscribe to the channel. We continue this story next week on the next moon cycle.